All right. Have a little sippy sip. Finish this can. It's a watermelon margarita.
Ooh.
Kind of doesn't taste like watermelon.
Water, 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 water.
Not while I'm mid-sip, thank you.
Refreshing. Yeah.
Oh man, that'd be some shit. If you could get a skull or something, like a human head, and you could just shove the water into the mouth, and you'd pack one ear and hit out the other, and the nose would be the carb.
I mean, yeah, I'd do that. Sounds like a really convoluted, like, Apple device.
Yes. Yes,
But-
it's the yeah. Well, a really convoluted Apple device or a really convoluted Apple device.
Yes.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have the iHead.
So you can
It's
get
got
your
no
head-
eyes in its head. It's very... Listen, we know the branding is not right there, but shut up.
you can get your head fade on with it.
$699.
Or $100 with activation.
Yeah, or $100 with activation. I don't want to ever have to activate my bong.
For well-qualified buyers over 2 years on contract.
Oh my God. Some stipulations apply. Hey everybody, it's Tuesday, October the 5th, 2020, and this is the Fourth and Wrong Podcast. I'm your host, RJ, and joining me as always is Keith. Say hi, Keith.
Hi, Keith.
Woo! Dog, we winning games out here. The Browns are proving that they're not a 6-point team.
Consistently.
Josh Allen can, throw a ball.
It's insane.
What is this year? 2020, the year no one expected.
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest with you.
Okay. Wait, are you telling me you've been lying to me this whole time?
I'm secretly a fish.
Listen, I've watched the second season of The Umbrella Academy. That does not go well for you.
Never seen that show, so I don't get the reference.
Just gonna warn you.
Gotcha.
There's a guy who's a fish in an aquarium helmet.
Interesting. Sounds poor for him. I didn't think either of us would be where we are right now.
I was fairly confident the Bills would be 4-0. I don't know if I thought it would be like this.
Yeah, I expected success, but I didn't expect after that week one start from Cleveland especially that we would be...
There's not enough misery in this podcast anymore.
Yeah.
People come here for the sads.
I'm gonna
and
be honest.
Us being angry.
I'm gonna make myself sad,
Okay.
just to restore some normalcy.
Uh-huh.
But that'll be into the Browns discussion.
Bambi's mom, Bambi's mom, Bambi's mom. Different kind of sad?
That wimpy deer?
I mean, Bambi's mom might have been a badass bitch. We don't know. She died. So.
That's more of a Sandlot reference, but okay.
Oh.
The Sultan of SWAT.
Sultan
The Colossus of Clout. The Great Bambino!
It's been way too long since I've seen The Sandlot. Or just long enough.
Just long enough. You gotta watch it. It's a good movie.
Or, one more option, not long enough.
I don't believe that. Probably watch that movie every day of my life.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Don't know about that one.
Yeah. So it depends on how much you pay me. So, do you want to just progress the way we have been over the past couple?
Yeah,
weeks?
I was gonna say I think we've gotten into a thing. So let's talk about the Browns and how the fuck do you put up 49 points?
Yo, the Browns are 3-1.
Better question. How do you put up 300 yards rushing?
Look, I'm gonna explain something to you.
Last time I was that excited about a story about 300, it starred Gerard Butler. So,
I mean, he is a tasty man. Look, I'm kind of confused myself.
the Spartans fucked each other to build camaraderie.
Hot. So it was a tale. Go
On
ahead.
purpose.
You got okay. Yeah. All right.
Just making
I
sure.
would hope it's on purpose.
It's like, oops, I tripped again.
Yeah. Oops. Oh, clumsy me. It was.
What? You tripped, fell, landed on his dick? All right.
Are we gonna talk about football?
Why are you gonna tell this man not to be violent?
You're just gonna string together pop culture references during my entire segment?
No, I'm gonna stop now. I'm good.
Okay.
I'm good.
You asked me a question.
Listen, you caught me relatively sober today, so everything's clicking.
Yeah. I don't even know what you asked me.
How did the Browns get to
yeah.
300 yards rushing?
By the Cowboys having an awful defense.
I was gonna say by committee, but yeah.
But certainly by committee, and by an interesting addition to said committee. Considering
Odell Beckham Jr.
Odell Beckham Jr. broke off for a 50-yard touchdown at one point. Yeah, off an end around.
He also shouldn't have gotten away with that. They had him all the way on the edge, and then he just was like, I'm going back inside.
Yeah,
and they were like, I didn't see that coming.
Yeah, like they just like specifically on that play, like they super overcommitted, and Odell is that guy you do not want to do that to. The moment you overcommit to an angle, like he can change direction so much faster than any receiver in the league, like most receivers in the league.
Yeah.
And the moment he saw the overcommitment and literally just like, well, I'm just gonna go this way now. He didn't even have to think about it. It's like,
slide to the left.
Really funny
to the right.
Really funny anecdote about that play too is like Odell was getting coached up because they knew they were about to call the end around, and like Harrison Bryant, the rookie tight end we have, like went up to him and was just like just stay in bounds. We're trying to chew clock, blah blah blah. And Odell just goes, all right, Rook, like verbatim.
Did he really?
Yeah. All right, Rook, and then House calls that bitch. He stayed in bounds.
Hello? Hello, home ownership? Yeah, this is Odell.
Yeah, I'm coming to collect.
I'll be seeing you 3 times today.
Yeah,
Click.
I won it 3 times. First time
he's had 3 touchdowns since 2015.
Yeah, first time he's had 3, and the first time he's ever played for a team that has had 3 straight consecutive victories. Period.
I believe it's also the first time he's had multiple touchdowns scored since he's been a Brown in a single game.
Yes.
So,
I think he had 1 game in 2018 with 2 touchdowns. So
maybe.
I think it was week 10. But I could be wrong. But yeah, like this was so we'll frame the game. At AT&T, at Jerry World, against Dallas. Dallas, in my opinion, has been no pushover. They've just been put in been put in interesting football positions, and have had to consistently dig themselves out of holes. Statistically, they look better on paper. In my opinion, they look better on paper because they're constantly playing from behind in garbage time. Mm-hmm. Dak Prescott, in particularly, he's thrown for 1,000,000 yards already, like 1,600 yards, because this is the 3rd game in a row they've had to come back from a multi-score deficit. With that being said, the pieces that are missing on that Cowboys defense facilitated the Browns to do the one thing that they wanted to do all year. And the word is identity. Mm-hmm. The Browns, we spoke on it last week, the Browns want to be a run-first, zone-gap hybrid offense.
And just let Baker manage it.
Manage it. Don't make any key mistakes. Don't turn over the ball. Rely on your running game to open up the passing lanes. And the passing game just stays efficient. It's the same story from last week, efficiency. But instead of on the back of a 200-yard rushing performance, it was on the back of a 300-yard rushing performance. And Baker Mayfield's stats reflected it. Nick Chubb got injured early. Turns out he has an MCL injury. Wyatt Taylor was blocking a defender, and they both went to the ground and rolled over on the outside of his knee. We're expecting him back, and he's on IR, but it's the short IR this season, so...
To quote urinating tree, unit lost.
Exactly. We're expecting him back later in a few weeks. So we're expecting him back about mid-season, maybe late into the
I think
third.
They're saying for the general recovery timeline is about 6 weeks. So thankfully with the flexible IR, you only have to be on it for 3.
Right.
But they can leave him on there for a little bit longer.
Yeah. So that clears up some room to add some more pieces in wherever we really need them. It just frees up a roster space. Because I'm not convinced with this performance, but I saw something because Cleveland had to reach deep into the running back room because Kareem Hunt's also playing with a nagging groin injury.
I was gonna say, tell me who Dearness Johnson is.
So Dearness Johnson is this is his second season in the league. He's been deep in the depth chart out of USF.
Well, I mean, basically to be on the running back depth chart, you're starting at 3 behind Chubb and Kareem Hunt.
So touches probably not going to happen. And then he came out and man, he looked good.
He just kept going. He just
looked good.
He was one of those guys where it's like every single run, it was like 5 yards, 5 yards, 6 yards, 5 yards, 6 yards.
Like when
10 yards, 12 yards.
Right. When Dontrell Hilliard lined up, we kind of knew what to expect. He's played with the Browns for a few years now. He's been in that running back room for a while. But when Dearness Johnson started taking, primary snaps because they're keeping Kareem Hunt on a snap count, and he's just automatic.
Because he's also still injured.
Because he's also still injured. So it's just automatic 5, 6, 7 yards. He averaged 7 yards a carry.
There was a time, into the second quarter where the Browns were averaging 9 yards a rush?
Yeah, it was into the second quarter, into the third quarter. They almost hit 10 yards a rushing play.
That's ridiculous.
It was insane. There was nothing that the Cowboys could do to contain the rush until they started selling out for it.
Mm-hmm. Until they were like, "Oh, this is all they're doing."
And to their credit, that's exactly what we were doing because we had a 4-score lead.
Yeah,
we were up at the half. We were up 31-14, and then we opened it up to 41-14.
Yes, that math checks out.
Yeah, off of the backs of a strip sack, Myles Garrett got himself strip sack number 3 for the year and won in 3 consecutive games. Mm-hmm. And off of a hilarious Ezekiel Elliott fumble.
Myles Garrett was just making their entire offensive, whoever was there, because didn't they keep rotating people through that through that tackle position?
It was very rotational.
He was just like, "You are a child."
Yeah, they were on 3. They went through 3 right tackles by the end of the game in order to find an answer for Myles Garrett. It turns out the answer, fucking double team him.
The answer is 2 right tackles.
Yeah, just put 2 people over there. And the moment that started happening, it started freeing up the rest of the defensive line. Dak Prescott only sacked 3 times, but he was pressured the entire game.
Yeah.
Dak Prescott, to his credit, did something that you really have to do against Cleveland because they have 2 powerful edge rushers as well as a decent defensive line rotation. Dak Prescott's ability to step up into the pocket, climb the pocket as the pressure gets around him, and especially towards the end of the game when they were playing from such a huge deficit where they just completely gave up on the running game because, once again, Ezekiel Elliott, very ineffective this week.
54 yards.
Yeah, 12 carries for 54 yards. I blame his ineffectiveness, though. He averaged a decent amount of yards per carry, but I blame his ineffectiveness that they got in the hole so quickly they couldn't give him the ball. They needed every second left on the clock.
Tell you what, if he had a decent average, Dearness Johnson had a phenomenal average, so...
Yeah. So
Somebody said if you came to me and was like, "Hey, you should start Dearness Johnson over Zeke in your fantasy league this week," I would be like, "A, go vomit on yourself, and B, get out of my face with that nonsense."
Yeah,
and then this would happen, and I would go, "Let me clean that vomit up for you."
Right. It was super refreshing. It was super refreshing for us because I don't know what Stump's our running back coach. I don't know what he's doing in that running back room to prepare so deep in the depth chart. But like they fit into that gap. They fit into that gap zone scheme, like they have been running it for years. And it was super refreshing. Like Nick Chubb getting out it was heartbreaking for me. I literally got nauseous when Nick Chubb got injured because he's such an integral part of that offense.
Trust me, we both had one of those this week. Yours just was an actual a more serious injury.
Yeah.
We'll talk about mine in a little bit.
Yeah, and it was.
And somehow it's not this guy.
It's not that guy, somehow. It was very gut-wrenching. And then for Dearness Johnson and even Dontrell Hillard in the passing game to come out and, be effective, and not only effective, pretty much take over that dominant role running the ball. It took a little of that feeling away. I gotta see what they can do against a team that has some ability to contain the run, because man, the Cowboys, it just wasn't it. They were not it.
That's going to be a no for me, dog.
Yeah. And so off of the backs of that strip sack, which we converted to 7 points, and then Zeke Elliott with the most hilarious fumble on the planet. This entire game, I was dogging Sendejo, our current starter.
Yeah.
Because he's not supposed to be starting. He literally is starting because Grant Delpit got injured. He was supposed to be the veteran mentorship in the safety room for Grant Delpit's development. He is old and slow and shit. And
it's like when we had to start Derek Anderson, and it was like, he's like, I'm 400 years old.
Yeah,
I am not supposed to be on this field.
So, but he went out there, and it was certainly football. But then it's like he heard me yelling at him the whole game. So Zeke gets wrapped up. And rolled onto the helmet of one of our players, literally sits on his man. And when you can see it in slow motion, you could see the Browns defender's helmet flex from Zeke Elliott's bulbous ass. But because his bulbous ass hit a helmet and not the ground, he's not down yet. Sendejo comes over and punches the ball out.
Mine.
And then we convert that for 7 points. So now, Cleveland Browns leading the league in turnovers and points off the turnovers. What year is it?
It's 2020.
Weird. So on the back of outstanding running game and being able to capitalize on mistakes and turnovers from the Cowboys, we got out to a 41-14 lead going into the fourth quarter. And everybody, I had several people texting me in this game, yourself included. You were just like, I'm fairly confident at this point the Browns got the win.
Yeah.
Statistically, 41-14.
I went and laid down because we didn't have a game until 4:30.
Yeah.
So.
I just had this weird fucking feeling. The entire time I just had this weird fucking feeling. And then it started to happen. Because we were trying to turn it into a clock game, and so were they, because they were playing from such a huge deficit, they started selling out for the run. So we were turning over the ball quickly. Mm-hmm. And then they were moving the ball. They were punishing the left side of the field where we need secondary help very quickly, and they were scoring faster than I wanted them to.
I mean, so they did the same thing you did, which was put up 24 points in a quarter.
Right. And then it turned into a 41-38 game all of a sudden. And
that's when I was like laying down half asleep, and I left my headphones on next to me, just like a radio broadcast basically. Mm-hmm. And I heard, "Oh, we're right back in this." And I was like, well, now I have to get up.
Right. The announcers were just like, this is a football game again. And I was like, it's not supposed to be. ESPN said we had a 99.9% chance to win this game.
Been there. Join us and the Falcons.
So Dak Prescott and the Cowboys offense did that thing that, look, I texted this to you yesterday. I understand why coaches go, let's play prevent, do not give up the big play.
Yeah.
I get it. But you mean to tell me that you watch 2 weeks of the Cowboys doing this. 2 weeks of the Cowboys doing this, playing from behind and, mashing on weak secondaries. And you wanted to copy them? You wanted to copy those defensive schemes?
Seems ill-informed.
What got us to the position we were in, 41-14, was controlling the pocket and being aggressive. We only gave up a big play that entire game, and that was Dallas's first drive. Their first drive. And then they were silent for the rest of the fucking game. Like, they grinded a drive out to score a second time in the first quarter, but after that, they were fucking silent.
Yep.
They were ineffective running the ball. They were marginally effective with Amari Cooper, but nobody else really showed up until they started playing in that garbage time period.
The garbage time, yeah.
Yeah.
God, Amari Cooper had 16 targets.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
That's a lot. Like, feed Amari. Well, they were using Amari Cooper to bully our weak secondary, him and CeeDee Lamb, because, we got Denzel Ward out there right now, and that's it.
Tell you what, that kid CeeDee Lamb looks pretty good.
He looks pretty good. He looks very good. I think they got something there with him.
I will say this, after Dez Bryant, though, he looks real small in that 88 jersey.
Yeah.
Like, you look at him, and it's like, that is the smallest set of pads I've ever seen underneath there.
Yeah, when I saw him wearing 88, I was just like, the disrespect.
Well, Jerry Jones wanted him to wear 88 because he's like, I like seeing one of my top receivers out there in that 88. I like seeing that 88 on the field. Mm-hmm. So he was like, CeeDee Lamb, I don't care what number you want to wear.
Yeah. Dez Bryant got 70-something touchdowns in the league, though.
So, I mean, listen, if they're like, yeah, LSU has got 18 and we've got 88, hey, at least you're, little respect.
Yeah, you're doing something. Respect. So, towards, like, you could ask, I thought I was going to have a stroke in the fourth quarter of that game.
I thought I was going to have a nap, and that turned out to be wrong, too.
I was watching the game. Jenny was sitting next to me, and, like, she has never seen me that stressed out or that unhappy during a football game in my entire life. And we have lost some football. I'm a fucking Browns fan. I'm used to being unhappy and stressed out. I have never been. I don't know. I was contemplating the amount of violence that I was gonna, like, if somehow Cowboys pulled this shit off. I was contemplating the amount of violence that was appropriate for the room I was in, and where I would need to go to appropriately vent the amount of violence I actually wanted to do. Like, my
how much
laptop.
violence can I do here, and where do I need?
Where do I need? Do I need to go in the middle of the street where it's public property? I don't like.
No, don't do that. That's how you get felonies.
Probably. I was like, I wonder how mad I would be at myself tomorrow if I just frisbeed my laptop across my fucking room.
Browns fan single-handedly takes down Confederate monument.
I would have marched in the middle of the town I live in with their stupid Confederate monument on Market Street and just, like, hang from it like a fucking animal. I don't know what I would have done.
Local Wilmington man jumps into 5th Street fountain and fucks shit up.
Hell yeah.
That is where that is, right? That's on 5th.
Market and 5th, I think, yeah.
That accident waiting to happen.
Yeah, I love that fountain. It's fun.
It's like the goddamn bridge in Durham that eats trucks.
So it was stressful. And then I was able to breathe.
Because the game was over. Well, because they handed it to Odell.
Because Odell, who had been having a really good game at that point. This was the one time we needed Odell to step up in a way where he was meaningfully. Look, the best touchdown pass of the entire game came from a receiver.
Yeah, that was one thing that I posted, which is I believe I put it in the group chat before you started showing up, which was just why does Keith's team have their best quarterback playing wide receiver?
Because he's also our second best receiver. It's the Terrell Pryor problem.
Yeah.
When someone's too good at everything, you don't know where to put him. So he got a really
put him on those left-handed rollouts.
Yeah, man. Well, he's a left-handed receiver.
Right.
Send it, boy. So 70 or 37 yards to a streaking Odell. Underthrew the ball a little bit, but Odell has the agility to adjust and get up and go get the ball.
Maybe fast running Odell. Streaking Odell is maybe, with his more recent history, not something you want.
Yeah. Fair enough.
That man's got a streak in his pants.
All right. Look, can we talk about the Odell poop thing for a second?
He likes poop. I don't know.
That came from who the fuck are those people?
I don't know, but he makes enough money for me to make fun of him for at least 2 podcasts.
He also makes enough money for who gives a shit. He probably doesn't give a shit. He's a millionaire.
No, he is the one receiving said shit.
Right, and he's a millionaire.
He gives 0 shits.
So who gives a fuck? I certainly don't. So yeah, 37-yard touchdown reception, effective in the short and medium gain, and then we needed something to put it away. And I kept saying we need something to put it away. If Dallas gets the ball again, they're going to win this game. If they get the ball again with it only being a 3-point game, they're going to win.
Yeah. Because
we're doing nothing to stop their passing game right now. And then for some reason, Kevin Stefanski was like, "Hey Odell, you mind playing running back?" And Odell was like, "I'll do whatever you want, coach."
Now, did he actually line up at running back, or wasn't it an end around?
It was an end around. And we talked briefly about the anecdote with Harrison Bryant going, "Just stay in bounds." He's like, "All right, Rook, the end zone is in bounds. Fuck you."
The end zone is the truer words may have never been spoken.
Yeah. So Odell just goes, big end around. Cowboys overcommit. He makes the adjustment, and I was screaming at my laptop. Something along the lines of, "Go, you bitch!" And then
bitch. Yes.
Yeah. Yes. That was huge. And then the camera pans to them. Celebration. Pans to Cowboys. Total defeat. Everyone's crying. I'm crying. And the Browns...
On this hand, you have celebration. On this hand, you have decimation.
And the Browns finished the first quarter of the season 3-1.
After, again... rewind 3 weeks and hear Keith's opinions on the Browns.
Yeah, not only have the Browns at this point, now I still think we're talking about par to subpar competition, but the Browns have proven that they can score in volumes. They've created an identity for themselves. Right now, that identity includes winning fucking football games. We've already won half the number of football games we won last season in the first 4 weeks. We have won. This is the first time we've been over 500 in 6 seasons. This is the first time we've opened a season 3-1 since 2001, which also incidentally happens to be the last time we made the fucking playoffs.
Hey.
So to say I'm a little excited right now about the way Cleveland's been playing football, not only beating teams, but score be damned, making teams look foolish with the running game and the defense's ability to make big plays and score.
I'll tell you, you guys made shit look fucking frustrating.
Yeah, I don't know what to do with myself. Like but like I said at the beginning of the show,
your division is brutal.
Yeah, it's the AFC North, man. The AFC North feels like the AFC North again.
Pittsburgh's still 3-0. Baltimore's 3-1. You're 3-1, and then Cincinnati continues to be Cincinnati.
Yeah, and we'll talk about Joe Burrow a little bit later, just because it pertains to us.
It's really funny that they're 1-2-1, and they have 99 points for and 99 points against. Really, they should be 0-0-4.
Yeah,
but that's just me.
So I have to make myself sad because it's the only way it feels right. Okay.
Okay.
I'm still underwhelmed. You
gotta even things out.
You gotta even things out. I gotta be a realist about this. I'm still underwhelmed about Baker Mayfield's performance.
Yeah. Yes.
There are some things I noticed. I think last season's circumstances with Cleveland have carried over to this year. And the reason why I say that is because Baker Mayfield looks scared. And this is something I noticed, especially directly comparing him to Dak Prescott, who was also having difficulties in the pocket with containment. Baker Mayfield has a very distinct inability right now to climb into the pocket. And every single time he scrambled or moved, it was either a designed rollout, which I like. I like that they're keeping him on the move, because Baker Mayfield has a laser when he's throwing on the move. He's had the most success in the league. He's one of the best. He's one of the best passers when it comes to throwing on the move and improvising. My only problem is he's shooting himself in the foot when it comes to his improvisation when he's supposed to be in the pocket, because he won't climb the pocket. Anytime he gets pressure, especially edge pressure, he backs out of the pocket, giving the defenders angles. He is giving them angles. When we have one of the best centers in the league, we have one of the best guards in the league.
Yeah, Wyatt Teller is very good.
Yeah. Wyatt.
I don't think that's who you're talking about.
Joel Bitonio.
Oh.
Yeah. J.C. Treader and Joel Bitonio have cemented themselves as one of the better interior offensive linemen in the league. There's not a lot of pressure coming at the nose. You're not playing... It's not like you're playing like Calais Campbell right now. Calais Campbell is not on Dallas. Fletcher Cox isn't on Dallas. Fletcher Cox is hurt right now. Who gives a fuck?
Fletcher Cox probably cares.
He probably cares. But the pressure wasn't coming up the nose. Climb into the pocket, finish your progression. If you don't have enough time to finish your progression, if you climb into the pocket, holes are going to open up in those gaps, and you can, when you start to scramble and improvise, you can scramble for yards. Instead of backing out of the pocket, still slipping the sack. He's still a slippy boy, but he always ends up rolling out. The play is not designed for people to roll out. You do not have receivers coming across your line of sight, and you have to throw the ball out of bounds. We didn't see that in 2018 Baker, because 2018 Baker had bravado. He stood in the pocket, he fucking slung that shit.
It's true.
I think the flaws. I think him getting beat around and having a down year last year. I still think he's recovering. I think with time we can see some of that, like, charisma. Like, he was still in there and making good throws. He was making NFL throws. I still think he has a lot of talent. I still think people hate on Baker purely because he plays for the Browns and because he hasn't come out and turned around the franchise. Who could, you know?
Jarvis Landry.
Yeah, evidently it's Jarvis Landry, Odell, Nick Chubb, Kareem Hunt. Who knew you'd have to rebuild an entire offense for him to be good?
Yeah.
So
Josh Allen remembers.
I think Baker Mayfield, we have some ways to go, but because we have an identity that revolves around taking pressure off of Baker Mayfield, it's going to be easier for him to reintroduce himself to 2018 Baker, you know?
I think the real problem Baker might have is he may still not have enough help around him. I mean, when you're coming home with that many groceries and you've only got one employee, I mean, he can afford at least a doorman. How are you going to drop your keys at the gate like that, Baker?
I think Baker Mayfield has plenty of help around him. I tend to disagree with that. You got Odell and Jarvis for your big guys. Harrison Bryant is showing up. You got Austin Hooper that we got a big contract off of.
Just saying, when your maintenance man's not ready to help cover up the chairs, you've got major problems.
Yeah, he doesn't have enough help around the facility trying to maintain things. Like, how many times does this dude have to lock himself out of the stadium carrying all these groceries and then drop his keys?
Really need to get a drink for his girlfriend? Doesn't he have people for that?
Well, wife now, but...
Well, okay, sorry.
Yeah.
Apologies.
And why doesn't this man have the drink machine just installed next to him?
I was going to say, why isn't there a closer concession stand? He's walking all the way across the fucking field. Yeah. You telling me they only got fucking drink machines on one side of that field? That's inefficient.
Lazy. So you might be right. Yeah, you might be right. There's not enough support staff in First Energy Stadium for Baker to really survive.
I'm glad that we got there eventually.
Yeah. I was like, what are you talking about? These on paper, this is one of the best offenses in the league. The other thing that I noticed.
Jokes.
Yeah. Ooh, yeah. So the other thing, just to bring myself back to ground level, because the defenses have allowed our 3 wins to stay close, close-ish for one of them. We won by multiple scores for the Bengals game, but our point differential is a little suspect.
Well, I mean, so's ours, kind of.
Yeah, because Baltimore took us out to the tool shed and beat us to death.
Yeah.
So that, not a great start. But we're 124 points for and 126 points against. I would like to see, going into the next quarter of the season, us be a little more definitive on how we beat some of these teams.
I mean, I'll be honest. I would take 3-1 with a negative 2-point differential.
Yeah, like I said, I'm still on cloud 9 that we're even 3-1. Especially with 3 of those wins coming consecutively. We're maintaining momentum.
Got a streak going.
But gotta look. I'm not an Eagles fan. Okay. All right. Wow. Just because we finally won a game doesn't mean I think we're going to the fucking Super Bowl.
It's because you get an IQ higher than a pair, but you know.
Yeah, fair enough. Just because we are technically winning our division.
You're not, though.
Well, I'm just talking about in reference to Eagles fans.
You're technically still in third for your division.
Yeah, I'm talking about if I was an Eagles fan.
Oh.
Just because we're winning the division with a tie.
I was gonna say, how's it feel to have as many wins as their entire division?
Feels pretty fucking good. And you're welcome, Eagles fans. The only reason you're winning that division right now is because Cleveland almost put up a fucking 50 bomb on them boys. All right.
Did you clean up 2 teams from that division already?
Washington too. Yeah.
Yeah. That's what I was looking at. It was Washington and. Oh, no, Cincinnati's in your division. Oh, right, Washington and Dallas.
Yeah. So, you're welcome, NFC East. You're welcome, Eagles fans.
Yeah, seriously.
So
those other teams could be 2-2 right now.
Yeah, so shut the fuck up. Let the actual winners talk about something, okay? But yeah, as you can tell, my attitude, complete 180 from week 1. For obvious reason. It just took 3 weeks of winning for me to actually feel confident going, Cleveland could probably beat any team in the league, asterisk. Provided we stay healthy.
I feel like offensively in this game, while it was not, you didn't put up 70 points, you didn't put up 80 points, something like completely ridiculous.
Yeah.
This was one of the first times that the Browns' offense on the field was the Browns' offense on paper, kind of. It wasn't a super dynamic, like you didn't put up 250 passing yards to go with 300 rushing yards. And it wasn't Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt doing it.
But it was complimentary football.
Yeah, it was a large committee, but the offense on all sides was moving along.
And let me ask you this. When's the last time you've seen almost 50 points put up by an offense that only had 200 yards passing?
When was the last time I saw a Browns game?
Yesterday?
Well, I mean before that, but
when
was the last time I saw somebody put up 49 points with less than 200 yards passing? I don't know. That's a great question. I mean, again, you don't rush for 300 yards in the NFL. It's a passing league right now. You just don't do it. You don't rush for 200 yards in most games.
Joke's on you. Cleveland has 3 consecutive games with over 200 yards rushing. That's just what we're gonna do.
Hey, I mean, what I will say definitively about the Browns that is very good for them right now is they seem like an offense with an identity, which is important because Dallas, on the other side, is an offense that in some categories are putting up ridiculous stats. Like Dak Prescott is like a full game ahead of Josh Allen as far as passing yards go at this point. But it's all junk stats. Like,
it's them having to play from behind every week.
It's like okay, you can have this salad which has vitamins and nutrients and is only 250 calories, or you can have this king size fucking Snickers, which has got 500 calories but isn't going to get you anywhere.
Yeah.
Except Snickers satisfies, and you're not the same as you're not yourself when you're hungry. Please, Snickers sponsor us.
Please, I know you're big and you sponsor the NFL.
Yeah, I picked Snickers even though it's one of actually the healthier candy bars out there. It's got peanuts in it.
It's got peanuts in it. Yeah, it's actual nuts. Those and Take Fives. I love pretzels.
Yeah. Jinx.
Yeah. So takeaways from the game. like I said, identity is important. Like you said, identity is important. Next week's going to be tough.
Next week is
the Colts.
But you're playing at home.
But we're playing in First Energy Stadium, which is important because Phillip Rivers, as much as I like Phillip Rivers, most of his career he's been playing in sunny California, and now he plays in a dome. Now he's plays in a dome.
Yep.
Hopefully the weather helps us out next week.
It's not November, December just yet, but
yeah, it's not quite the brisk months of playing in Cleveland and Buffalo that everybody knows and loves from Lake Erie, the almighty Lake Erie, providing its sweet bounty of misery upon the coastal inhabitants. But
well, let's see. Oh, this was going to be a good transition, and this took a little too long. It's 58 in Cleveland right now. It's going to be 48 over tonight, so I mean,
could get cold.
I don't know. It's good seasonal football. I don't think it's necessarily going to hurt Phillip Rivers because I don't think he's got fucking arthritis all over the place yet.
No.
For being 800 years old.
Yeah, to be fair, Phillip Rivers has been in the league forever. He's played all over the country. The dude is a consummate professional. I think it's going to be a test for both teams. I think Indianapolis is kind of having an identity crisis right now, similar to Dallas, because of that sudden transition from Andrew Luck to Phillip Rivers.
Say sudden. They had Jacoby for a year.
Yeah, that's fair. And Cincinnati hasn't done anything to, or not Cincinnati, Indianapolis hasn't done anything to wow.
I was going to say that's the word. They're not, they're in no way blowing me off.
Yeah,
off the page with their stuff.
Yeah, they lost to the Jags. They beat the Vikings, who are struggling right now. They beat the Jets, who they're the fucking Jets.
Now, granted, they lost the Jags week 1, and since then, those two teams have had a complete reversal of fortune. So,
and they squeaked one out.
Do you think Phillip Rivers like shook Gardner Minshew's hand and just like Space Jam just like sucked some of the juice out of him?
Sucked some of the Minshew mania out of him?
Yeah.
It could have. Oh, or he just like country bumpkin trash talked him to death.
Yeah.
Like Phillip Rivers does. I swear, sweetest man on the planet until he gets on the field. And
I got God on my side, dag nabbit.
Yeah, and then that dude will chirp your goddamn ear off.
Won't say a swear word, but
yep. They had an interesting game against the Bears, who are currently transitioning into Nick Foles full time.
Or not. We'll see.
Or not. We'll see, because Nick Foles wasn't super impressive last week or this past week.
We'll go over that. I think that's something we should talk about a little bit later.
Yeah, I think so too. So I don't know. I feel comfortable. I feel confident going into this Colts game, but this is one of those games where we can't take it for granted just because we're on cloud 9 right now. The Colts are one of those games that can and will beat good football teams this year, and we could very well be one of them if we don't mind our P's and Q's, so to speak. And then after that we go into the true like juggernauts of our schedule, where we play the Steelers, and then we go back to Cincinnati, where they maybe a little time with Joe Burrow starting now, they've gelled a little bit better, and then we play the Raiders, the Raiders confuse the fuck out of me.
I'll tell you what, Joe Burrow got his cranium readjusted, and ever since then, he's been on an upward trajectory. He tied that game and then won one. So maybe they fixed whatever was a little loose in there, and now he's just going to be perfect for the rest of his career.
Now he's going to be what everybody thought he was going to be.
It's like, I got my one shot, and that's all I needed. All it took was my head needing to be over here.
I gotta be a wire boy again. Headset was beeping at me.
Hey. Yeah. Wire Squad.
Wire Squad.
That's where the black shirts come in.
I'm cautiously optimistic about next week, is how I'll kind of close that segment.
I think if you guys lose next week, it'll be a bit of a disappointment.
Yeah, I think so. I think our first big test needs to be the Steelers. I think we need to go, because we're playing at Heinz Field. I think we need to go into Heinz Field 4-1 for me to be satisfied with how the season is opened.
Yeah, and I think that's doable.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, certainly a winnable game, but we can't let the hype get away from us.
I'll tell you what, though, I'd take your fucking schedule over mine, even if you got to play the Raiders and the Steelers twice.
You mean the Ravens?
Yeah, well, yes. Well, sorry, yeah, I looked at the Raiders and then I scrolled down a little bit, but you guys are also playing the Raiders.
Yeah, I do that all the time too. Yeah, no, totally. The Bills' schedule sucks this season.
Man, you guys could really so looking at your schedule, you could really go headlong into week 17 with it being a divisional battle and come in with a lot of steam because you're playing the Giants and the Jets and then the Steelers to end the season.
Yeah, like literally.
Granted,
if I were
it's two road games, so you're playing in New York two back-to-back weekends,
and
then you come home to play the Steelers.
But if I were to go bold and predict out the rest of the season with how I feel right now, by the time we get to that last game of the season against the Steelers,
let's see, I'm counting 1, 2.
We should be
3, 4.
We should be 12-3 by the time we get to the Steelers.
I was gonna say 11-5 or 10-5, but
10-5, 11-4.
Like if you lose to the Ravens again, if you lose to Tennessee, if you lose to the Raiders, and you lose to Pittsburgh,
yeah. So like
I'm giving you the Texans right now because they're a clusterfuck.
Yeah, they're a mess. There are 10 to 11 very winnable games on our schedule.
Also, if you lose to the Eagles, I'm saying right now, there's somebody that we have to have on the podcast just because I like, at least for 20 minutes, just so that he can shit on you because it'll never end.
Yeah, just to get it out of his system.
It's like, just get it out of your fucking system.
Yeah.
Here you go. Here's your platform, which is technically our platform.
And here's your chance. Get it out.
But I think we just spent 45 minutes talking about the Browns.
It's a lot to unpack this week.
Yeah, well, let's unpack another game.
Hell yeah. Tell me about them Bills.
May or may not take as long to unpack, because I got a lot to say, but dude, Josh Allen might be an MVP. I know I said it 2 weeks ago.
I don't disagree.
I named the podcast Josh Allen for MVP.
I do not disagree.
Because once Keith is done speaking to his microphone, he loses all creative control.
Pretty much. He tells me what to name it, and that's what I name it.
Yeah. So we had another game where a team kind of stuck in it. The Bills are never going to win a pretty game, I don't think. I don't think we're designed to win a pretty game, at least not right now.
Well, yeah, we'll get to my opinion on that.
Yeah. I don't think we're winning pretty games right now. Our defense is not necessarily playing. They're not playing to the caliber that they've been the last couple of years. Granted, we had some stuff shake up, like Phillips, I forget his first name, ended up with the Cardinals. Shaq Lawson ended up with Miami. That's two of our starting defensive linemen who are just gone. So, getting new people in there was something to get used to. I still think we need true help opposite Tre'Davious, at the number 2 quarterback spot, which we may have found in the form of Josh Norman coming back off of IR, because he had a game where he played relatively well on defense and was I'll tell you what, seeing Josh Norman on the field, that guy was not, in every single play, obviously, because he's a defensive back, but you know how it was like, hey, people need to make tackles on our fucking team?
That dude can hit.
Josh Norman gonna grab you by the waist and whip you to the ground. Like, he does not care. He was getting all up in Nelson Aguilar's face that entire game. Even though Aguilar, kind of beat him a couple times. But he also got, a huge punch-out turnover for us late in the game when we were up 30-16 that really, gave us some control and gave us, some dominance over that. But what I think I want to spend most of my time talking about is the offense. The Buffalo Bills are an offensive team.
Yeah.
The Buffalo Bills are an offensive team. The Buffalo Bills are 4-0 for the first time since 2008. Which I distinctly remember that season because Fitzpatrick was still playing for us, and I went, "We don't deserve to be 4-0." At least I'm pretty sure he was still our quarterback at that point.
I'll take your word for it.
Gotta look it up real quick. Did not qualify for the playoffs though.
Well, you finished the season like 7-9. I thought that was the Trent Edwards era.
Oh yeah, that's right. Because he started good, and then he got his fucking bell rung.
Yeah, and the only reason I know that
he was never the same.
Yeah, the only reason I know that is because I just recently purchased a copy of Madden 2009.
Right, and Trent Edwards is still the quarterback.
Yeah, and it's cool though. Derek Anderson was quarterback for Cleveland that year, so
not since Trent Edwards, Stevie Johnson. God, Marshawn was still on the team.
Yeah,
not since that era. Have we seen such a hot start. And the thing is, we're actually a good team this time.
Yeah, you weren't just like sneaking your way into...
Yeah, we weren't just like sneaking into first place and going, this is completely inconceivable, and the rest of the league going, yeah, you're right, that's why you're going to go fucking 3-8 the rest of the... Or 3-9 the rest of the way.
Wow, would you look at that?
Wow, would you look at that? Isn't that incredible? So, let's see, where do I want to go? Our rushing game was, once again, kind of unimpressive. Devin Singletary ended the game with 55 yards. Zach Moss was out with a toe injury for the second game in a row. And shit is just kind of not going on that front. Which, in years past, I would say is really bad because God knows we don't have a passing game. Well, guess what? We got a motherfucking passing game.
Yeah, the Bills' offense picked the right time for Josh Allen to put it together, considering how ineffective the running game has been in Buffalo. Which traditionally, especially the days of having a Shady in the backfield, and when Devin Singletary kind of had his breakout season last year,
his rookie year,
yeah, his rookie year, you kind of had to lean on that rushing game. Now that the rushing game's not there, I mean, Josh Allen can just sling the ball. And you got receivers that are getting open. And when they're not getting open, they are making plays. They are creating separation with their bodies. It's really impressive to watch.
Two things happened this year. A, Josh Allen figured out his mechanics, which, if you watch any of Brett Coleman's stuff, he went pretty in-depth to, where Josh is doing this little, like, hop step that apparently... to open up his feet and point in the right direction, which apparently also Aaron Rodgers does. So, not the worst company to have as far as those mechanics go.
Well, it was the criticism of Josh Allen that I had 2 or 3 years ago whenever he was about to get drafted was he's an arm thrower. He throws with his arm.
And now he throws with his twist.
Yeah,
he's a rotational quarterback.
Yeah, so now that he's implemented a sense of rotation, he can take some heat off of the ball with his arm, allowing him to put touch on the pass.
And he makes that shit look so easy. I have never seen... So, Gabriel Davis scored our first touchdown. He had one target for one catch for 26 yards and a touchdown. That was his game. All right? I have never seen a more easy, just like, boop, like, flick of the wrist, just perfect arc right to where it needs to go. And it was just like... It's like, you're the laser guy.
Yeah.
You're the frozen ropes. You're the not more than 15 feet off the ground guy. And Josh is like,
not anymore, baby.
did you see the pass to Stephon Diggs?
On the
post route that made it like like 50 yards down the field.
Yeah.
He wasn't doing that last year. And that's number 2 is Stephon Diggs is happening. Stephon Diggs, who's leading the league in receiving or tied for receiving yards right now.
The ability to have the ability he has gained to put it in a bucket, coupled with the receivers he has around him to create enough separation to make the bucket possible. The timing that offense has, like putting all those pieces together, the timing, like I said at the beginning of the segment, it could not come at a better time with the rushing game struggling the way they are.
Because the offensive line is really our offensive line is still only okay. We've got Mitch Morris, who's generally considered one of the best centers in the league. And like in free agency when we picked him up was like the number 2 center or number 1 center. His big concerns were concussions, which I thought was going to be a big problem last year when he got hurt early, because he already had like 3 or 4 concussions coming into Buffalo. And he was like, I don't know, I'm kind of concerned about my health. Should I be concerned about my health? And it's like, yes!
Yes! You fool!
But, he, as far as I know, has not suffered anything, major this year. And so, our offensive line does not make huge gaps, is not road graders. Like, we could not put up 300 yards in a game. We're just not built for it, rushing. Yeah. What Josh can do is almost put up 300 yards again, for a 4th game in a row.
Yeah. And what's crazy to me is this was a down game from what we've seen the last 3 weeks. Yeah. It was
only 2 passing touchdowns, only 288 yards, only 24 completions.
Yeah, it was the Bills' ability to control where their drives started.
The ability.
The Bills' ability to control field position let them put up 30 points because they weren't having to go end zone to end zone. So it's weird when you look at the numbers, the way these this is not akin to a 30-plus point offensive effort that we're used to seeing in the NFL.
Right.
Even though this was a down week from Josh Allen, he played damn near perfect football.
He played efficient again.
Yep.
Didn't throw an interception. Once again, didn't have a fumble. Like, he's really dialing those things in. He's kind of, so this is a thought I had earlier, was when Tyrod was our quarterback, his big thing was he's efficient and he doesn't turn the ball over. And Josh came in as this big boomer bust, like Brett Favre compared, like he'll get you those big plays, but he's gonna turn it over, like a la Jameis Winston. And now we're getting Brett Favre with Tyrod Taylor in the same
mash them together, stick them in a stew.
What's in the same package, and it's insane. Like
some would argue that this archetype of efficient quarterbacks that have innate ability to stretch the field exists in new era quarterbacks, from especially young new era quarterbacks that we haven't seen in the NFL in a while. Like we've gotten a plethora of talent, and especially now that Josh Allen has developed to the level that he's playing right now, like we're putting him in the same discussions as Patrick Mahomes, as Lamar Jackson, like these quarterbacks that came out of college and are putting up amazing numbers, but also doing it in ways that you don't expect rookies to do, aka protect the football, aka protect the football. Don't turn the football over, because that was the biggest problem with Cleveland, or with Baker Mayfield's big breakout season, his rookie year. He broke the record for most passing touchdowns in the league for a rookie with 27, but he also threw 14 picks, or thereabout. So.
Yeah, I mean we're talking about Mahomes and Jackson, but now Josh is putting himself in such a place where the other people we're talking about are like Rodgers and Wilson, like the people that he could potentially be getting compared to right now.
Yeah, you have to put him in that discussion. You'd be stupid not to.
I mean, if you look at it right now, Josh Allen is basically behind Russell Wilson for the MVP. Would be my argument. the stats that we looked up on him, the only quarterback that he's behind for quarterback rating is Russell Wilson. The only quarterback that he's behind for touchdowns is Russell Wilson. The only quarterback that he's behind for passing yards is Dak Prescott. And as we were talking about earlier during your game and such, a lot of those are junk make it up yards.
Yeah.
So he's getting a ton of stats, but they're empty calories.
And to more directly, exactly. And to more directly draw that comparison, particularly when it comes to Josh Allen and Aaron Rodgers, because you mentioned them, you have the sheet in front of you right now. Josh Allen's passer rating right now is averaging 122 passer rating.
Well, I think it's 122.1.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did have it pulled up. I don't know if I still do.
Yeah. When Aaron Rodgers won his last MVP, he averaged 122.7.
Yeah.
So, we're in that window.
We're in that range.
Yeah. So, it's really weird to watch the Bills go onto a football field and do the things that they are doing right now.
I mean, when you have Jim Kelly say, this is the first quarterback I've actually been excited about, that's saying something.
A little bit.
Fuck the K gun, the J gun is here. Mm-hmm. Or the A gun, because I guess Kelly was his last name. And it would have been the J, and it would have been the J gun before, but whatever. No, and I mean, you know what's really crazy?
What's that?
I think we only signed John Brown for 2 years, so I think his 2 or 3 years. So his contract's coming up sort of soon. Beasley, I think we got for another year than John Brown, but Stephon Diggs is going to be here for 4 years.
Yeah, you got him for long term, longish term.
Gabriel Davis, we just drafted.
Yep.
They've got a long time to be really good, and even still spend draft capital and stuff on other things to fix up the offense. It wasn't quite covered in our last round of podcasts because all of those were from a couple years ago when Sean McDermott and Trey White and everybody were first coming in. And one of the things that I had been talking to you about since then is basically all of the Bills' first round capital has gone into the defense. Mm-hmm. So Josh was the number 7 overall pick, but then they still had a second first round pick, which became Tremaine. So for the first 3 years of Sean McDermott, and then leading into Brandon Beane, you could kind of say that first year was a little bit of both, but Doug Whaley was still there, but then immediately fired the day after the draft when they got, as soon as the draft was over. They had invested all this capital in defense. Now they got Josh, and then this year, again, our number 1 overall pick was Stephon Diggs. Mm-hmm. We've got and then again, Gabe Davis we pulled out of this ridiculously deep wide receiver class because he probably could have been a late second, third rounder, something like that, and we got him in the 4th. We've had all of this stuff come together, and like you were saying, it's all coming together at the right time where Josh is really finding his form and finding his stride, that now it's okay, if our defense for some reason can't figure it out, for the rest of the season, which is what I'm really hoping for, but I'll talk about that in a second, we can go right back to drafting defense, and I think we're all right.
Yeah.
And another thing you asked me a couple weeks ago was we were having the who would you rather have quarterback discussion. And you looked at me when I said I would rather have Josh Allen than Lamar Jackson, and you gave me this face like you walked into the kitchen and the garbage hadn't been taken out in a month. I don't know. I feel more confident about my statement now.
I'm a little more inclined to change my own answer. So,
and apparently one of the things that I've heard, through listening to other news sources and stuff, is apparently there are some NFL execs around the league right now that if you ask them at the 3-year mark, would they rather have Lamar or would they rather have Josh Allen? A lot of people are starting to lean the Josh way.
Oh, sure. Well, we've seen, and this is kind of a tangent, but it's related. We've seen the Lamar Jackson story play out before in the league. We've seen Donovan McNabb. We've seen Mike Vick. We've seen Steve Young. These are short careers. But if I were to directly compare Josh Allen to somebody right now in the league and Like, please don't, like, it almost hurts me to say it. After watching him play these past few weeks and, like, seeing his progression as a rookie, I mean, we kind of got a Ben Roethlisberger type on our hands.
Oh, I mean, that was an early comparison.
Yeah, but now it's here. It's realized, because
it's manifesting.
Yeah, strong arm, big body, hard to tackle, can stand in the pocket and punish you if you become too aggressive.
He's just faster than Ben.
He's just faster than Ben. Yeah, that's really the only thing away. We've seen the Lamar Jackson story play out before. I think any executive on the planet would take Ben Roethlisberger over Michael Vick, or Ben Roethlisberger over insert runny boy quarterback that's going to get hurt way too early in his career. Oh. And fortunately for Lamar Jackson, he exists in a system that knows that skill set, and they're going to try to protect him. But running quarterbacks, especially with his frame, they don't last that long.
Yeah.
And although I still am very impressed with Lamar Jackson's production, it's very early in his career, just as it is Josh Allen. But Josh Allen has what we have seen historically, a sustainable set of skills. Because when's the last time we had a quarterback that threw for 3,500 yards and ran for 1,500 yards besides Lamar Jackson? It was Cam Newton. Okay. As far as, won the MVP off of
not 1,500 yards, but...
Well, 1,000 and 1,000,000 touchdowns, whatever.
Yeah.
I
was gonna say, because I thought Lamar broke the record last season at like 1,200 yards rushing.
Yeah. It was Cam Newton, and where has Cam Newton's career been? And Cam Newton's a big dude compared to Lamar Jackson.
He's a big dude.
Yeah. But where's his career been? Injury, turmoil, discrepancies in the front office. Like we have a better sample size of quarterbacks that fit Josh Allen's current performance and their sustainability in the league.
There's a really good Gridiron Heights that came out recently, which was all of the immobile quarterbacks huddled up, hiding from defensive ends and stuff. And it's like everybody run, and I think it's Matt Ryan's character just looks over and goes, "Don't you get it? We can't." and Phillip Rivers hands Gardner Minshew this like medallion or whatever, and he's like, "Quick, you must go find the disciples of Vic." And it's like Patrick Mahomes and Lamar and Josh and Kyler Murray like running around in the woods. It's very good.
Yeah, I'll have to peep it.
But so we've talked broadly philosophically. There's still a couple points that I want to touch on,
sure.
But I'll probably rally back to those. But just talking about the actual game itself, this was more of a game where the Bills kind of put their foot down. It was definitely more of a back and forth early, and then once it got down into crunch time, the Bills locked it down, and the defense came alive and started getting turnovers. There were 3 straight Raiders possessions that ended in turnovers, and you really can't have that if you want to win games in the fourth quarter.
No.
So we ended up, up 30-16. It was 17-16 at one point at, going or just out of the half. Yeah. So it was close, and then we put up 2 more touchdowns, and then they got one in junk time with 2 minutes left. So this was the first game where like we didn't have to come back from something, and they didn't put up like a ton in garbage time. They put up 1 touchdown to bring it within a touchdown score at the end.
Yeah, just to make the numbers look good.
Yeah, but it felt good, and it was a road game. Yeah. So it's all, hey, winning on the road is hard. No matter what. I mean, they went from Buffalo to Las Vegas. So, I mean, I'm not saying it's Seattle, Miami, but it's pretty close.
Yeah.
And just consistently, like, made plays, had confidence. The Bills have this incredible ability this season to take... The Bills of a couple years ago would get to third down, and the defense would start grabbing their helmets. I think we talked about this last week or the week before. Micah Hyde, was saying, hey, we used to get frustrated. I wouldn't have said it that at the time, but it was like, oh, third down's up, grab your helmet, get ready to get back on the field. Whereas the Bills yesterday were consistently converting third downs, and their average distance was like 8 yards on a third down conversion. And they were still like, I want to say they were like 8 for 11. I think the last time I noticed it, they were like 7 for 10 on third down conversions, and they were at like 7.8 yards per third down. And it's like, okay, first of all, you guys got to do more on first and second down. But second of all, like, they're making these passing plays and these play actions and all this stuff that is converting those, as opposed to the old Bills who'd be like, third and long, maybe we can get it with a run.
Yeah.
It's like, no, play the game plan, have something in there. And now they're just like, well, fuck it, we'll go 5 wide, and you'll have to man up everybody, and Josh will find somebody.
Yep. Good luck guarding a slew of receivers.
Good luck guarding Stephon, who's going to run a post route on you. And then on the other side, we've got John Brown, who's going to burn you, and that's your first 2 DBs. Then we got Cole, who's going to run like an inside, like a slant or something, right over the middle, or in a cut to the right. And then we've got Gabe Davis, who's just going to be tall.
Yeah.
And Singletary's going to run like a drag and definitely make the first person miss no matter what.
Yeah.
Which was another thing I saw consistently. I've never seen a running back. Okay, maybe not never. Since LaShawn McCoy, when he was playing still roughly in his prime about the time that we got him, I've never seen so consistently somebody take a blown coverage or take a blown rush and just go, nope, you miss.
Yep.
And then make 4 yards when it should have been -3. And it's like, oh, Singletary's rushing yards aren't that great. It's like, yeah, but did you see the play?
Yeah.
Because he should be -18 right now, and he's still got 55 yards. And I think one of the other telling things about our strategy going forward, I know you're looking at the stats right now, but imagine you weren't looking at the stats, and I told you that Josh Allen rushed 3 times for -1 yards. Does that sound like Josh Allen?
No, but I'm really happy.
You know what they aren't doing anymore?
Design runs for Josh Allen.
Fucking design runs for Josh Allen. Oh my god. So week 1 we were still running the QB sweeps and shit. And it seems like they were like, oh, Josh is passing. I think especially after week 2, they were like, Diggs just got 153 yards and Josh just put up 400. Maybe we don't make him run it anymore.
Yeah. Maybe we don't need to do this.
Maybe we take that part out and we put it into the improvise file and we fucking leave it there.
Yeah. If he needs to, he can.
So, you know what? Listen, when Josh is hot, I don't know if there's anybody who can stop us. And what I'm hoping at this point is if we can get the defense to re-gel and become what they were the last couple of years, Bills might win the Super Bowl.
They're in that conversation. Question for you, though.
Sure.
Since we're talking about the Bills' offense, how much do you think? Because we're talking about the deficit in the running game. How much do you think the injury to Zach Moss has really hurt Josh's assistance from the backfield? How much do you think that it's really hurt that production, having only had him for 2 games and the limited amount of production you were able to see out of Zach Moss, considering the talent you played those first 2 weeks, being the Jets in Miami?
Apparently for his size, he's good in pass protection. But outside of that, he wasn't doing much. I mean, he was the guy who came in when we drafted him and said, I model my game off of Marshawn Lynch, which, first of all, you are not as big as Marshawn. So that's going to make things difficult.
Yeah, he's kind of a small boy.
You are another 5'7", 206-pound running back. You are a bowling ball.
Sure.
But, I understand you're the all-time leading rusher at Utah. This is the NFL.
I'm curious how the lack of production from Devin Singletary and the rushing game particularly is going to affect the Bills down the road. considering they don't have Devin Singletary strikes me as the kind of back that benefits from a committee, and that committee just doesn't exist right now in Buffalo. Yes.
I also think that as the season wears on, as it gets cold out, we'll see more out of the running game. I think as the field slows down with receiving targets, when the joints get a little tight and when the weather gets a little worse, we'll see those guys grind it out a little bit more. But it also might not be necessary.
I've never really subscribed to the mantra of as it gets colder, the field starts to slow down, because that's just not the league we live in anymore.
Depends where you go.
It's largely like where you're playing. Yes, the game's going to slow down in 4 inches of snow in Buffalo,
or Cleveland,
or any of those teams. I just worry for the Bills that if you have and it's the same worry I have for the Browns, if you have a singular dimension for your offense and you have no production on the other aspects of that offense, it's not easy to stop, but it's easy to scheme against.
Mm-hmm.
You still got to actually go out there and execute. But the more and more and more, and you said this about Baker a few years ago, the more and more the Bills put on tape, the harder it is for them to make adjustments if they don't have other pieces in that offense to pick up the slack for them. That was why. I mean, that's why Kansas City was so successful 2 years ago. Patrick Mahomes playing out of his mind, but Kareem Hunt also led the league in rushing yards.
Yep.
That offense as a whole was unstoppable at almost every level. And that's the kind of that's what I want to see coming out of Buffalo. Not because I demand it in order for them to validate their success. I don't need that. I want to see Buffalo succeed, and I think that's what's going to be required of them to get out of the AFC.
Well, who was Kansas City's running back last year?
I don't remember. Some old guy.
I feel like that says a lot. When you've got enough track stars and receiving targets.
Yeah, but you don't have
Casey
look,
did it.
As much as I like the weapons around the Bills, you don't have Tyreek Hill as a track star. You don't have
Travis.
But
we've got Stephon Diggs, who's a contested catch specialist.
Yeah, but you don't have Travis Kelce. You don't
True.
have.
Okay, no. At tight end. Okay, I was waiting for you to get there. I was hoping you'd list a couple more wide receivers first.
No.
No. At tight end, we have Tyler Kroft, who occasionally shows up and has 2 touchdown games and then disappears again with droppy hands. And we have Dawson Knox, who's in his second year and just came back out of a concussion protocol.
Yeah.
So, listen, the Bills haven't had a tight end in over 25 years. So
Fix that shit.
Hey, man, the Eagles might be coming up off of Zach Ertz real quick, so, we'll see how that goes.
Man, he old as fuck.
Doesn't matter. Can you run a crossing route and get us 6 yards?
I mean, probably.
So,
who knows?
Hell, maybe. I mean, listen, I still really wanted TJ Hawkinson. He was my dream for the draft 2 years ago. But he got taken at 8, and then we took Ed Oliver at 9. So we still needed help on the defensive line. But yeah, I wanted a tight end. But yes, I think the Bills will find a way. I mean, listen, let me put it this way. Buffalo still has Christian Wade hiding on the practice squad. So if worst case scenario, we need to pull the rugby player and say, go fucking Frank, you know what? One of the smartest things Frank Gore ever said was, "What do you do after you get that ball in your hand?" And Christian Wade said, "Play rugby."
Go get him.
You know what? Zach Moss is put on IR, and suddenly we see Christian the athlete Wade come out here and do some shit. I think we'd be all right.
Dude, that's a small dude too.
He's very tiny. He's also incredibly fast.
Yeah, 5'7", 190 pounds. Ooh, boy, I bet he can fly.
He was the all-time leading scorer in his rugby league.
But what's his 40?
It's like decent. I think he did run a 40 because they brought all of those international players. They had them go through like a mini combine.
Yeah. He ran a 4.5 at his pro day in Tampa. That's not bad.
That ain't bad.
And I bet you he runs really fast in pads.
He does. His very first play from scrimmage in the preseason game that he played last year, scored a touchdown. First play.
Good for him. I like seeing rugby players in the NFL. They're just mean. They'll like bite.
Most of them are punters.
Yeah, if there wasn't a face mask in their way, they just bite you.
Yeah. So, I mean, you know, he's still my hope to come out and play for us for a couple years, where he's just like, I'm the diciest motherfucker you ever seen.
Right. Well, I mean, that's how we got Jamie Gillian. Like, Jamie Gillian was a punter, or played for the Highland Rugby Club in Scotland.
The Scottish Hammer!
Yeah, the Scottish Hammer. And that's why he can boom a punt, but he's also looks fucking swole as shit. Like, he will fucking... Jamie Gillian will murder you. He just hasn't had to do it yet. I want a Jamie Gillian jersey just because I love his name.
So, yeah, I mean, the Bills, if they suddenly had an all-star tight end, would be... I mean, might be the greatest show on turf at this point.
Well, New Era's grass, isn't it?
No, it's turf.
Buffalo Stadium's turf?
Oh, okay. Yeah, as far as I know. They keep trying to sell me turf, and I'm like, you won't let me get in on any of your contests, so I don't want any of your turf. They had a contest recently for a signed Matt Milano helmet, and I went in there and I said, I want a signed Matt Milano contract, and got all the upvotes. I was like, give me those internet points.
If only it was Reddit, then it would mean something.
If only it was Reddit. All right, well, let's. I don't have much else to talk about the Bills. You kind of took control with a couple of those questions. You got anything else you want to ask? We talked about.
There was something I wanted to double back to, and now I can't remember. So,
defense, something. Draft picks, running backs.
I think they'll figure it out.
Okay.
There's a lot of smart people that work in that building.
What, in the Bills building?
Yeah.
Yeah, just a couple.
Hey, beginning of the season, I asked you, are you here, or during the offseason, I asked, like, I don't know, RJ, do you trust the process?
Fuck yes.
Tell you what, RJ.
Give me that process.
I trust the process, too.
Yeah. I'm
here. I'm with it.
Now, if only you could get, like, an offensive coordinator that'd stick around for more than a year.
Who, yous guys or us guys?
You.
Yeah. Hey.
If only Baker could have a consistent... Like, because, again, that's one of the... Okay, I do have a little bit more to talk on, I guess, which is just Josh, and the fact that it's really, like... I'm not scared because he's on my team, but it's really scary to just see this linear progression of improvement, where it's just like... It's like, all right, Patrick Mahomes came out, Patrick Mahomes sat his rookie year, you know, came out, lit the world on fire, turned around, won a Super Bowl the next year, third year, won a Super Bowl. Lamar Jackson sat for 11 games, came out, started lighting the world on fire, turned around, became the league MVP the next year, like all this stuff. And they spiked, you know. Baker came in the league, had this incredible rookie year, had a little bit of a slump, and now we're sort of figuring out where he's at. Whereas Josh is just like, I'm a wild card. I'm a wild card who makes slightly better decisions. I can throw now?
Yeah, I'm a legitimately MVP caliber quarterback. You know...
Josh Allen might be the Terminator of the NFL.
You know the distinct difference between all four of those teams and quarterbacks?
Go on.
Front office and coaching staff.
Hey.
So hopefully Kevin Stefanski and company stick around for a while and we actually get to see, I don't know, development of our star rookie or star fucking young ass rookie contract quarterback.
Yeah. Well, and it's kind of what you were talking about after week 2, where it's like, well, if he throws for 500 yards and then he throws for 600 yards, it's like, what if Josh Allen just continues this linear trajectory of just like, ooh, fuck you. you can't do this.
Yeah, I'll show you.
And then I'm waiting, like, I literally had this thought in my head earlier, which is, I'm waiting for, also, we didn't even talk about how he injured his shoulder, which I'll do real quick. He fucking, like, one-handed, like, just chucked this shit for, like, 15 yards to Stephon Diggs on, like, a 3rd and 10, and we almost got the first down, and he landed on his left shoulder, and apparently he popped up and said, well, I knew it wasn't my collarbone, and if it had been my other arm, that'd have been a thing, but... Yeah, it just came out with this giant brace, and it's like, that's step one of you becoming Ben, you motherfucker.
Yeah. I saw... it was one of the random moments where I happened to glance over at the game, because I'm going to be honest, I watched this game at a glance.
That's fine.
But I paid attention.
I slept through the Dallas comeback, so...
Yeah, it's fine. That's why we have each other.
Hey.
That was one of the times I happened to glance over at the game, and I was like, Josh is walking off the field. Josh is walking off the field. Oh. This changes everything. And then, like, the next drive, he was just like, no, I'm good. Like, oh, okay.
Well, thankfully what happened was he got injured on a 3rd down and long, which we didn't convert, so it became a 4th down, so he went off the field, and then we didn't have possession for the rest of the half.
Yeah,
so
he got a fair bit of R&R.
You got a little time to heal up. Probably get a shot. Hopefully not in the ribs.
Who's the backup in Buffalo right now?
Matt Barkley.
Right, okay. That's terrifying.
And then Jake from State Farm.
Right, Jake Fromm's the one we're all like,
Jake Fromm being kept in quarantine right now away from all the other quarterbacks.
Why, has he got the COVIDs?
No, he's our quarantine quarterback. He's in case everybody else gets sick.
Gosh, that's funny. That's funny.
Welcome to the league, kid. You don't get to see anybody.
Yeah, which is funny because, like, I googled Jake
Stop
Fromm.
sending texts about elite whites.
Yeah, don't do that. I googled Jake Fromm, and the first thing that popped up was a Sports Illustrated article from September 5th, 2020 that says Jake Fromm likely to be cut by Buffalo Bills. Not anymore, motherfucker. Nope. We need a quarantine quarterback.
Quarantini. Yeah. All right, let's talk about some other stuff. Let's quickly jump from my AFC East team to another AFC East team, who's playing a game tonight.
With old Brian Hoyer at the helm.
With old Brian Hoyer. For all that they talked up Jarrett Stidham, isn't it interesting that Brian Hoyer is the one who's actually going to start this game?
Yeah. Well, we'll start off with Mr. Cam Newton.
I was going to say, rewind. The reason Brian Hoyer is starting is because...
Cam Newton unfortunately contracted COVID-19. We wish him a speedy recovery. We wish no illness or injury upon any professional quarterback unless they... I hate them. Which is mostly just Mason Rudolph at this point.
Not going to lie to you, at this point, he plays for the Patriots, so...
Yeah.
Doesn't win a lot of favor for me.
A little difficult for you to like. But as a person, wish him a speedy recovery. With that being said...
Sweet grandma hats.
Sweet grandma hats. With that being said, why the... I do find it interesting that they talked up all this... Yeah, I do find it interesting they talked up the Stidham cat. And Brian Hoyer's, he's going to be taking some snaps tonight. So in an hour, approximately.
I heard an interesting point earlier, which is that a lot of the offensive weapons from the Patriots are still at least 50% established. Like, you still got Edelman, and Hoyer knows the Brady offense.
Yeah.
So, I mean, Julian Edelman might have fucking 300 yards this game.
Yeah, we might see a return to form, so to speak, from that offense because we're going to be dealing with a much more traditionally pocket passy guy instead of allowing Cam Newton to just do what Cam Newton does best. It's unfortunate that this had to happen. Now, obviously, Cam Newton being young, relatively healthy, we're expecting a couple of weeks on the bench, but he'll recover. It just so happens, though, that the 2 weeks that he's going to be missing are one next week is against the Broncos. Not a huge worry, but
are they playing? Where are they playing?
They're playing in Gillette Stadium.
Okay, so they're playing in New England still.
But today they drew the Chiefs lottery. To not have your starting quarterback against the Chiefs is brutal. Fucking brutal.
Chop him down.
And especially the Patriots' defense is still good. They are still serviceable. But there's...
What? Sorry, go on. We have breaking news.
Oh, shit, cool. There's some separation between what the Patriots were able to do last season versus what that defense has been able to do this season. So it's either going to be brutal or they might surprise us. It's still Bill Belichick. I'll never count him out, but goddamn. Like, Patrick Mahomes and the rest of the Chiefs must be chomping at the fucking bit right
Kansas
now.
City 56, New England 14.
Calling it?
Yeah.
Stamp it. Send it to the bank. I think it's going to be a little closer than that, but similar result.
All right, two things. First of all, I got to pee. Second of all, Bill O'Brien just got fired.
Yo, you can't drop a bomb like that and just go
Headset's
pee.
not on yet. Hold on.
I'm still going to talk.
All right,
I said you can't just drop a bomb like that and go pee.
Drop a bomb on him. All right, breaking news.
Let's get the ticker out. If only this show was live.
This news will not be breaking at the time that you hear this, but it is on the screen now. The winless Texans have fired GM, coach, Miss Texas,
and overall idiot.
Bill O'Brien. The man who traded away arguably the best wide receiver in the league last year for peanuts and a running back, and the name of the running back is not Peanuts.
Yeah.
How do we instant reaction? How do we feel about this? You know what? I got it. Duh.
Yeah. Some people would say that 4 weeks into the regular season was too long.
Go to ESPN.com right now and look at this man's face.
Yeah, I did. I'm on the article right now.
For all the visual viewers.
As the ownership, I would have considered this the likely scenario after the moment he went to the ownership and said, "By the way, I'm trading DeAndre Hopkins." No, the fuck you're not. You're fired.
And you're fired.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do they get a take backsies on that trade now?
Yeah, I can that wasn't. He doesn't work here anymore. Can we just
Come on, bro.
Yeah, you'd have to pride. You'd have to pride.
I know you two were
D-Hop.
dating, but it was my hoodie first.
Right. You'd have to pride D-Hop from the Cardinals' cold dead fingers at this point.
Yeah, no shit.
Man, that's wild. And I'm surprised it took so long. I'm gonna be honest.
Yeah. It kind of seems like it.
Yeah, I'm surprised the ownership, and this was the general consensus when the trade happened. I'm surprised the ownership allowed that trade to occur. But that's what happens when you make an idiot your fucking GM. Like, the only thing that Bill O'Brien had going for him was that they had 4 divisional titles.
Well, I was going to say the only thing that Bill O'Brien had going for him was his first name was Bill, and those guys tend to do well in the NFL. But
yeah, he had a little more to his
Belichick, Parcells.
Yeah, he had a little more to his resume than that.
Polian.
He has a winning record with Houston, a couple of division titles. He drafted Deshaun Watson.
Excuse me. I was surprised that I was able to name 3 Bills that didn't have Buffalo after them, but that's just me.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
That's important for you.
Small victories, man.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just kind of on the same page you are. Duh. No shit.
Duh.
Should have happened forever ago.
They don't have a first and second round pick next year because they belong to Miami.
Yeah, Bill O'Brien's not only did he
holy shit. Hold on.
What?
No, go on. Finish your thought.
Yeah, not only did he trade away arguably the best receiver in the league, he stripped out everything from that team to where they're in a position to rebuild with no assets to do it. They have tied up cap space. They have no draft picks. Deshaun Watson just got signed to a huge extension.
So we talked on a previous episode, jokingly, about what if the Bengals just suck so bad they draft Trevor Lawrence? What if Miami has Tua and the Texans suck so bad they get Trevor.
It could happen.
Now what?
Yeah.
You got your left-handed quarterback package and your right-handed quarterback package, and teams got to prep for both.
I mean, if that was Bill O'Brien's master plan, he could have told somebody.
Yeah, like the Dolphins, like, hire me.
Yeah, I'd like, help us out, dog.
So the other thing is the Texans now have neither a head coach nor a general manager, because he was both.
Yeah, so they've already named the interim head coach. It's going to be Romeo Crennel, who is the assistant head coach out there.
Hey, a name.
Yeah, and fortunately for the Texans,
wasn't he with Arizona for a ton of years?
Are you talking about like the last time he was a head coach?
Yeah.
The last time he was a head coach was with the Chiefs. And then before that he was a head coach for the Browns for a few years.
Could have sworn he was with Arizona, but irrelevant.
Yeah, well, he was a Browns head coach. I'm familiar with him. So at least he has head coaching experience. But yeah, like, who's the GM now? Like, who's gonna unfuck everything that Bill O'Brien fucked? Is it
Mike Pelazzolo from PFF? Have you ever seen his campaigns to become a GM?
Yeah.
I think it was for the Jets for a long time, but guess what? There's an opening.
Yeah. So
listen, I'll straight up say this. Hopefully their GM doesn't come from Buffalo, because I like our drafting team. Thank you very much.
Yeah, no shit. That's the thing too. Like, a lot of teams are pretty comfortable with like where is there a hot free agent GM right now? Like, I mean, you got John Dorsey. He still doesn't have a team. Also,
this is a really bad time to need a GM because college ain't doing shit.
Yeah.
So if you bring a new GM now who has to scout for the 2021 draft, he's probably going to bring in all their own people. Hopefully they've got their own tape and shit together already, and they're not building an office. Because if they're pulling some dude off the street, the Texans are fucked for years.
Well, colleges are playing right now.
Hold on. Are there any more cars coming up out of college?
I don't know. I think we're tapped out of the cars.
We all out of cars? We
Yeah.
gotta switch to trucks.
Yeah, let's see if does Derek Carr have a brother that we don't know about?
Yeah, David Carr, the original Houston quarterback. We don't know about.
Yeah, we know him.
Okay. Didn't know if we skipped him or not.
No. Yeah, no. I mean, colleges are playing though. I just watched college football.
Like a couple of them. I saw a headline for the number 3 plays the number 14. I was like, what, out of 22? Like,
yeah.
Who the fuck's playing? Not that many.
Yeah, and like, as far as like hot free agent GMs, like John Dorsey's out there floating around in the ether somewhere.
I could see it.
Dude.
Gum smacking.
If you're gonna get somebody that's gonna rapidly turn that franchise into something,
sweatshirt wearing,
John Dorsey is the one to just go, "Hey, Baker."
Yeah, but isn't John Dorsey going to want, like, I don't know, some draft... Like, because that's the other thing. They have no draft capital.
Yeah,
what GM's going to want the job?
Right. Like, John Dorsey walked into, like, a draft capital heaven when he took over Cleveland.
Right, because he had, what, the Firth and the Fourth?
Yeah, Shashi Brown. The
Firth.
Yeah.
This is Shashi Brown and podcast.
Shashi Brown has stripped out the entire roster for all this capital, and then John Dorsey had all these toys to play with. So even if he was wrong on Baker, he still drafted a bajillion weapons that draft.
And I want you?
Yeah, and like, nobody's going to want a GM in, at least not this year. Like, give it a year.
I mean, I'll take it.
Yeah,
if they're going to pay me for it.
How much does it pay?
Yeah.
I'm substandard at my job too.
Can I remote work?
Yeah, can I cut Jadeveon Clowney? I can do that.
Jesus. Can I trade DeAndre Hopkins?
Yeah. I mean, I can make these decisions.
I was gonna say. Let me put it this way: I can make less bad moves.
Yeah.
Can't say I can make any good moves, but I can make less bad moves.
Have you seen me play Madden, Houston? I will send you my resume.
Trust me.
Trust the process. If you run a 4.3, you're signed.
Okay, Al Davis. So that's breaking news.
Yeah, crazy. So we already covered the Patriots game, which I'm actually going to watch because that sounds hilarious.
Hilarious.
Yeah. Who do you got for Green Bay and Atlanta?
Oh, Green Bay.
Yeah, stupid question, right?
Come on, that's not a question.
Yeah.
It's going to be a shootout. Atlanta's going to be up early, and then Aaron Rodgers is going to just Rodgers them.
He's going to be mad about Danica Patrick wrecking his car or something.
He's like, No, he's mad about Jordan Love.
Well,
because again, he's on his continued campaign to keep that man on the bench.
Well, you know, Aaron Rodgers and Danica Patrick also separated, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so like he's mad about everything. He's like,
well, he says he's found a new love in his life.
Yeah, and it ain't Danica.
Whatever, he was better off with Olivia Munn anyways.
Yeah. Danica Patrick, look, tangent. Danica Patrick sucks.
Poor Aaron Rodgers, Danica Patrick, and Olivia Munn. What a hard life this MVP Super Bowl winning quarterback has had.
Also, who looks at Danica Patrick like? Okay, I understand looking at her as like a physical object and going, "That's attractive. I want to poke it." But like, who looks at Danica Patrick as a person? Throughout her
wasn't she a total shitheel?
Yeah, her IndyCar career, her NASCAR career, where she was okay in Indy, she was terrible in NASCAR, and she was a fucking cunt. Like, she was just shitty to everyone. And you go, I want to marry that. No, fuck you, dude. Like, just because you're a millionaire MVP quarterback does not mean you can change somebody that's just a bad person. So that was bound to explode. Hell, after they separated, Danica Patrick was on record on like tape or something. I don't know if they filmed it or something, of like actively cheering on the Bears while they were playing Green Bay because like, you don't need that negativity, man.
Plus,
Ron, you are better than that.
You date a NASCAR driver. I mean, how much more wears on those tires anyways?
I don't know. 10 Raiders were fined after not wearing no masks.
Oh, I literally, during the game, during the Raiders game, there was a cut to like, one of the booths or whatever, and you could literally see a guy nudge the dude next to him and point to his face and be like, "Hey, buddy." And you saw him pull it up real quick. He was like, "Fuck, that was $10,000."
Yeah, evidently there was some kind of charity event that the Raiders
for
were doing.
The NFL?
No, for like youths battling cancer or something. And like
it is October, so it's crucial catch month.
Yep, and a bunch of the players weren't wearing
previously known as Breast Cancer Awareness Month, but apparently titties don't matter anymore.
No, what matters is them actually like doing a charity that makes fucking sense. My strong opinions of the Breast Cancer Society aside, I'm just glad my NFL isn't pink anymore. I'll just put it that way.
It was the gloves.
I just couldn't stand the towels.
That's what I mean. It was like 2 accessories. Come on, man. Yeah. You'd be all right.
Well, also the end zone and the fucking pylon, or the goalpost had the pink thing in the middle, the guard thing on it. Like they fucking paint the whole sideline fucking pink. Like,
it's been too long.
Yeah, it hasn't been long enough. Where was the other thing? The Rams and the Giants tried to kill each other at the end of the game. That was pretty funny to watch.
I heard about that.
No idea what the fight was about, but I know Jalen Ramsey was involved. Go figure.
Yep. Surprise. Apparently him and Golden Tate were getting into it.
Yeah, him and Golden Tate started a big old brawl where at one point, like, it was funny as fuck, like there was a coach for the Rams in there, and then like it looked like a lineman, but one of the linemen from San Francisco popped up, or from the Giants popped up and like squared up to the
That'd be crazy if one of the linemen from San Francisco popped up.
It flew halfway across the country. No.
Sup, I'm here.
Yeah. One of the
Bugs
linemen
Bunny
for the
finally
Giants
let me out of the hole.
Like squared up on the coach, like dragged the coach off and squared up onto the coach and like split the whole thing up. It was a whole mood.
Y'all are ridiculous.
Yeah, less newsworthy and more just what I thought was amusing. Besides that, after the initial outbreak in Tennessee And some of the stuff going on in New England, there is so far no more positive tests for COVID currently in the league.
Yeah, Tennessee, no more positive tests. Cam got one, which means the Bills game week 5 versus Tennessee is probably still on. But yeah, that was an early concern when Tennessee started popping up with positive COVID tests. It's like, oh, we play them week 5.
Yeah, let's not get the whole league killed, okay?
They're already working on it. Like the Steelers already got a shit week 4 bye week on accident.
Yeah.
So
unfortunate. So now they got to redo their whole fucking schedule, and by redo I just mean scoot the whole thing like this way. But now they got to play fucking 12 games in a row after they come off this week's early bye.
I got a question for you.
Poor bastards. What's up?
Who's got the better empty stats, Dak Prescott or Matt Ryan?
Dak Prescott, because they've won a game.
Dak Prescott, because he's got more empty stats.
and they beat that guy. They beat Matt Ryan with said empty stats.
Yeah. You know, all of my questions are mostly jokes and not actually that thought provoking, except for the occasional one.
Yeah.
All right, well, I'm about out of things, and this is gonna be a 2-hour podcast, so I don't know how much longer I want to go.
Yeah, I mean, I could sit here and jaw about the NFL all night, but
because I gotta listen to it again.
Yeah, you gotta
probably
go back
tonight, or else it's gonna be 9 o'clock before this goes up on Tuesday.
Yeah. So, shut up. My phone buzzed.
I didn't hear it, so
my recording did. You will when you listen back to it.
Yeah, of course, always do.
Yeah.
Or I'll see it.
Brip. In the damn show.
All right. I didn't know if you were like looking at something or scrolling through articles. All right. So this has been the Fourth and Wrong podcast for October the 5th, 2020. Say goodbye, Keith.
Goodbye, Keith. Yell real quick.
Hey, everybody, it's Tuesday, October the 5th, 2020. This is me yelling, adjusting levels, making sure that all of my loud shit is loud, continuing to talk for a while. This window is open. My neighbors can hear me.
I got it.
Okay. Just listen. I wanted to give you enough. Some restrictions apply.
Restrict my nut.
I mean, listen, some people pay top dollar for that.
Nah. Well, they shouldn't. You can buy them things on Amazon for like $20.
No, I'm talking about nut restriction.
Yeah, just get yourself like a ring.
Like Beyonce said.
Yeah, if you like it, then put a ring on it and then let her step on it. Oh my.
I don't know how that's going to look at the end.